But what happens when we pass is this. The instant we pass, and remember I've spoken already that the time of our passing, the location of our passing, and the way in which we pass is all determined by a whole series of law of attraction events based around our own soul condition, and of course the soul condition of everyone else around us is also affecting that experience. For example, if all of you were in a perfect loving state, that does not guarantee that you're not going to die. It actually doesn't even guarantee you're not going to die tomorrow. And the reason why that is that usually a person's in a large group of people in a loving state often then attract other people attacking them who are in an unloving state. And can you see here on earth, the people who are in a loving state can easily influence the people on an unloving state in the sense, and then this is the only sense, in that a person in an unloving state can harm a person in a loving state by choosing to harm them, by choosing to hurt them physically, or by even killing them. So for that reason, just because we are in a one-mint condition with God, it doesn't mean that we might not die. But of course there would be no pain in the process in that state. Does that make sense? No emotional pain in particular in that state. So here we are in this soul condition. We have a soul condition, and the soul condition, remember, creates the time, the place, and the circumstances of our passing. And you can see how much these things can affect that. For instance, my belief systems, for example, can greatly affect the circumstances of my passing. I'll give you an example. This is a very simple example, but it just demonstrates the point. If I believe that I shouldn't get any medical assistance when I'm ill, now for some of us had that belief in the past, haven't we? I don't want anything unnatural entering my body. I don't want doctors touching my body. We could have lots of different beliefs, right? Surrounding that one belief system that we don't want to have anything unnatural touch our body. And so something might happen, like we may have an accident, and because we don't want anything unnatural that we think touching our body, we actually make a series of choices that end up in our own death. So you can see how our soul condition automatically affects our passing. Of course, I'm bringing all of these situations, in fact, without considering God in the process, right? Which most people don't do, let's face it. Most people don't do it when they're nearly dying. They generally don't consider God in the passing, with the exception of one moment, and that is just before they die, they want absolution of all of their sins, generally, even if they're not religious, and that's often the case. So our time, place and circumstance of our passing are totally determined by our soul condition. And not just our own soul condition, but also the condition of our environment. That influences the process too. So when I pass, generally, there may be all sorts of experiences that happen when I pass, because my soul condition determines not only the time, place and circumstances of my passing, but it will also determine my experience in the state of my spirit body, when I'm no longer having my physical body with me. It will determine that as well. But generally, we can discuss a few points generally of what happens. One of the first things that happens is we arrive in the spirit world, and we don't generally see ourselves very much. Well, let's face it, you can look at your body, can't you? But I don't know about you, but I can't see my own backside very easily, nor my own back for that matter, unless I've got a mirror, right? And most of us can't see our own face. We don't have eyes that pop out and turn around and look at it. Oh yeah, that's what our face looks like. We're looking outwards. So there's a lot of our body we can't see, isn't there? And it's the same when you're pass. When you pass, you still have a body, a spirit body, and you're looking out of your eyes, of your spirit body's eyes, and you still have hands, and you still have feet, and you still have a body that looks very similar in a lot of ways, but when you start to examine it, you start seeing cracks and fissures and different problems in your body. Just like you had when you were on earth. You have physical problems with your body. right? Your back might be sore and your shoulder might be bung, and you can't get it above you, and there's all these different things going on with your physical body. And same goes with your spirit body. Your spirit body is just a reflection of the soul's condition. So anyway, I arrive in the spirit world, and generally I arrive in the place through the mists, which is actually described in the book Through the Mists, if you want to read that, from Robert James Lees. Anyway, I arrive in that location, often in a stunned condition, if it was a sudden passing. So if I have a sudden passing, I arrive there and I go, oh, wow, this is different. I wonder if I'm in a dream. I don't really know. And there's all this stuff that I don't really know right at that moment. I feel a bit disoriented. Wouldn't you feel disoriented? You imagine you're driving along in your car and you see this other car coming for you and you close your eyes, right, because it's just about to hit you. And then you open your eyes and you're not in the car anymore. Wouldn't that feel quite strange? Like that instant reaction of change would feel quite strange to anybody, particularly if you're in a car accident or something like that. You see the car coming towards you, bang, it happens, and you're straight away in the spirit world, you've been severed from your body. And what actually happens physically is the passing is your physical body, which is connected to your spirit body via what's called a cord. The spirits call it a silver cord. It's actually a long stream of energy that goes from your tailbone to the top of your thalamus in your brain. And right from there to there, the cord follows this whole place. It's elastic in nature. In other words, it stretches and moves, and it can stretch all the way through your experience in the sleep state in the spirit world. And that cord remains keeps your bodies connected with their interfaces of all of their physiological and emotional functions. So in other words, every emotion passes through that cord, and every physical experience and every hurt and all those things, pains, but all the pleasures also, all pass through that cord into your spirit body and then through a cord that connects your spirit body to the soul and therefore passes into your soul. And so these cords, connecting your bodies together, pass information to your soul, you could say. We could liken it to a robot, this physical body, being controlled by the soul, and everything the robot feels in terms of the touch and taste and smells and all those things the robot feels gets passed through this cord to the next body's experience. And eventually to the soul, because the soul retains all of those experiences from the moment that you incarnated right the way through your entire life. So there you have this sum total of experiences that are entering the soul from the bodies. And what happens when you die, physically what happens is this silver cord breaks. That's all that happens. In other words, this body, the physical body now, can no longer assimilate information and pass that information through to the soul because it's no longer connected to the soul itself. Does that make sense to everyone? It's no longer connected to the soul, so therefore no information can pass. So from that moment on, the physical body begins a process of natural decay. So you try 5 days after in the sun. Bit smelly by then. Doesn't take long for your physical body to... You bury a physical body without any wrapping or anything like that, and within a few months, the physical body will mostly be gone. And mostly it's just certain bones that will be left after that time. And even those, after a certain period of time, will disappear as well, generally getting eaten by the different things and by the different environmental factors, slowly decaying. Because the energy that the physical body needs to stay alive doesn't just come from food, it comes from the soul's connection. So you can try feeding a physical body that is not connected to a soul if you want, but it's still going to decay. You pump it full of food, but it's not going to work very well because it's the soul that controls how the body, the physical body, actually even processes all of its food. The soul controls everything. So what happens is that silver cord breaks, and at the moment of that breaking you are surrounded, or even before the moment of it breaking, you are surrounded by a group of spirits that help you through the process, generally, help you through the process of moving from where you are now on the earth into assimilating your life in the spirit world.